The most helpless I felt was when I kept checking Facebook and watching the TV and having to witness the fires from so far away and not being able to do anything, and just watching posts of my friends going, oh, this house burned down, oh, this part of the town is out in Shasta Lake, it's gone, and feeling completely helpless at that point.
We left the house at 8:40 p.m. and the house was on fire by 9:30, and it was gone by 10:30. It went up in a hurry.
When the Carr Fire first started, Jerry reached out to me and asked if the Don't Wait Project could be involved in an idea he had to give $50,000 worth of furniture away to families who'd lost their homes in the fire. And I said, absolutely. Sign me up. Put me on the next plane.
Lisa and I decided to meet up in Redding, see what we could do, and by the time we got here, there was already so many helpers. I mean, there was even a furniture store that had been set up to help people furnish their rentals until they were able to build their homes again.
We've got 1,200 homes that were lost, so count that out by people, and we knew that they would be moving into homes that were not furnished, a good group of them.
We put out to our social media that, you know, we needed furniture for the fire victims, and the next day we had a load of furniture coming in.
When you're trying to decide what do you take with you, how do you make that decision? I mean, of course you need clothes and those things. Did you grab pictures? Did you grab...
No, there was no time to do that.
No time for that?
No.
Although he did get one photo album.
I did grab one photo album, and I grabbed one quilt that I was a professional quilter, and I grabbed one quilt off the wall, but I lost all the rest of them. So it was just...
Everything?
Everything. Absolutely everything.
It's a terrible feeling.
So I found such fulfillment meeting these folks and hearing their stories and learning about them, and it was such a reward, more rewarding for me, I think, than even for them that they were receiving the gifts that they did.
And at the same time, it was also very, like, the next overwhelming feeling was like the community, the outpour, you know, help. And it was something that, an experience that I don't ever want anybody to ever go through.
The biggest thing that I learned from it is that you don't have to have the biggest organization, you don't have to have this smart idea to help people, just go and help people. And as you're doing the process, you just kind of learn your own kind of way of helping people.
I designed and built our own house, so my dad and I built it. We started it in 1989 and I finished it in 1990. So we lived out there 29 years.
You know, I put in a few Saturdays, and every Saturday I would leave there with just my soul was filled and my heart was filled.
They're grateful for their chair and their couch, and they got a place to sit and a place to eat, and it was just, I was very grateful to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah, there were a lot of memories here, a lot of memories. And I moved back and I helped my father die here.
When something as devastating as the Carr Fire happens, most people go, do I have resources to help, or do I have to rely on my resourcefulness? And luckily for me, I had resources. I had a warehouse full of slabs, and these people had lost everything. I mean, they lost everything down to their toothbrushes. And so for us to come up with an idea to get these people furniture, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me.
Jerry is a very generous man, and he has the ability to give. And when we started thinking about this giveaway from his company, Madera Manana, we thought about how so many of the conversations we had with our family happened around the dining room table, whether we were eating dinner or doing our homework. We thought, let's do that. Let's start gathering people around the table again.
And things are a lot better now. It's been 3.5 months, and I guess we can both see light at the end of the tunnel.
You know what I always say, if I stick around my life long enough, it always gets better.
And I think that's true.
It's very true. We're more resilient than we think.
It took till about February before I felt almost whole again. About 7 months.
that it's not a bad experience. Something positive always comes out good. Like, first of all, I'm looking around, we're all safe.
For us, I think that's the thing, that the biggest blessing I take away is that people were really kind and generous to a fault and helpful. And
the community still hasn't forgotten. I get calls almost daily about the rebuild and how excited people are for me.
The Don't Wait Project is a vehicle for storytelling. I believe in storytelling. I believe that hardships are an opportunity for crossroads, not an impasse. And we want to hear your stories. We want to know what you've lost, but we also want to know what you've gained. What have you learned from this experience? You can nominate yourself, your family, or you can nominate a friend. But what we really want is to share the lessons that have been learned, the people who have been touched, the lives that have been impacted. And we want to share the progress of the people after the Carr Fire. So when will you be in?
I'm told around March, April, so June.
So we're here because we received a letter from Rachel. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us, do your parents know that you wrote a letter, or?
My mom does.
Okay.
But my dad doesn't.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the letter and your story. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, can you move up a little so that you'll be the one talking so we can see you a little closer up? Yeah.
Sure.
There you go. And go ahead and, yeah, there you go. So tell us about your letter and why you were interested in submitting your parents' story.
Yeah, I saw your guys' story through the Record Searchlight about the tables and how you want to give back to the community. And I thought there's no better people than my parents. I forgot my Kleenex. Because of how they lost everything, but that wasn't what they let define them. They were going to rebuild not only their house, but the neighborhood and the neighbors, and just thought it would be a cool opportunity for them.
And I would like it if you would, Rachel, share a little bit about what you said in the letter.
So I talked about how growing up, my parents' house was always the house where my brother can remember this. In high school and throughout everything, like all of our friends always came over here. We had dinners over here. Everyone learned manners over here, especially with my grandma, like, don't wear hats at the dinner table, and we always pray before every meal, and so we did our homework, and just bonded as a family was always around our dinner table. We did Christmases and birthdays and Thanksgiving, yeah, and everything, and that was like a huge part of my childhood.
One of the reasons why Jerry and I came up with the idea for the tables as opposed to any other thing is exactly what you're talking about, gathering around the table. I've been friends with this guy since I was in 7th grade, and we were talking about the stuff we did as kids, and it all centered around the table, right, Jerry?
Yeah, it's like it's where we learn, you nailed it. It's where we learned our manners, where we ate, where we we'd have our friends, we'd make cookies, all that stuff, all that happened right there, and my house was the same. My mom was always, all my friends always came over. It was just like, it's where we cut our teeth.
Right, it's awesome. I love it.
So Mom and Dad, what do you have to say about your part of the story and what you've been through? If you want to walk a little closer to the camera, then we can see you and just share a bit about what you went through losing your home in the fire and all that happened.
When the fire came close, Rick was out on search and rescue, doing evacuations up in Old Shasta, and he called me and said, "Don't go to work." And then he called me back and he said, start packing. And so I called Rachel and Skylar to come help, because not only did we have our home to try to evacuate, but my mom lives next door and we had to evacuate her. And our son was deployed overseas, and it was
watching it live.
Yeah, watching it live from his command post. And you don't believe that it's going to happen. You believe that you're just going to be back in a couple days. In fact, we didn't even really bring any clothes, because we just figured, oh, we'll be back in a couple of days.
Right.
And so we ended up, you grab what you can, you grab your pets, and once you realize that everything is gone, you realize what's most important. That's your family, your pets. I mean, stuff can be rebuilt and it can be replaced. And yeah, there's stuff that can't be replaced, but your family is the most important. And we have the blessing of getting to rebuild our home right now. And even though it's kind of hard, because you still remember the way it was, especially if you're building the exact same home. So you're like, oh, but we used to have, but now it's different. And it's, you know what? Life is good. We're blessed, and we will move forward, and it's going to be even more beautiful. We needed to replace the roof anyway. So,
well, now your son, you were deployed while this was happening. So what was that like for you to be away and see this happening, but not being able to be there with everyone?
It was pretty hard being, because we're 12 hours off over there. And so, you know, I basically wanted to be up like 24/7, because when they're awake, I'm supposed to be sleeping. And then when I'm awake, they're asleep. So yeah, it was pretty tough. Everything's really delayed.
And so you were part of the rescue with your group. Tell us about that.
I've been doing search and rescue for the Shasta County Sheriffs since 2000. And I've been on a lot of wildfires. So we do it on our dirt bikes. I'm on the dirt bike posse, and they found out we could get in and out faster than anybody else. So that's why they call us on the fires. And I never dreamed all these years that it would be my neighborhood, that I'd be doing evacuations in. And it was, I'd already been on the fire for 3 days before it hit our neighborhood. And then came home. You know, I was out in Old Shasta that night. They called about 1:30 in the morning. I stayed till about 7 in the morning, and it started jumping 299. And I told them, if it jumps 299, I'm going home. There's nothing but a mile of manzanita and pine trees between 299 and our house. And so I came home, and these guys, they were all packing. We were packing a trailer that we had just bought.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to go to Brookings and, you know, go on a vacation, ride the coast and all that. That's the trailer we've been living in now for 2 years. They packed it and we drove out with it. And then
it's only 19 feet. It is small. Small.
But you guys are all still liking each other.
Yeah.
Well, we back in after that. You know, we went over to their house, the other side of Placer, and then I rode back in and stayed till that night. Yeah, I stayed till it was scary. It was the last minute. So I took a picture leaving the house, and it has the flames coming up the back. And then I got in a couple days later. We came back, and I got another picture, and I texted it to Donna and just said, okay, if you don't want to see what's left, don't look at the next text. Because it was like 2 foot of ash. That was it. There's nothing.
Well, we're just so grateful you're all safe. We wanted to gather everyone around because we had planned to be in Redding to have these conversations and try to decide who would receive these tables. We received so many submissions. And then of course with COVID, we can't just show up in Reading and do what we'd planned to do. So thank you for getting on this call and everything, and making time for it, and, and standing where you're standing outside your trailer.
Wow.
So I'll let Jerry take it from here.
Well, I mean, I know that you've got the new roof, but we want to add a table to that 19-foot trailer for you guys. So you guys will be easy because it'll be like this big. Yeah, we'll talk in the next few weeks, and because I see the house is being built behind, so we'll work with that and get a nice table to fit that space for you guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're so blessed. Thank you so much.
My gosh.
I've been on the website, and it's art.
Oh.
It's so beautiful. Very beautiful. And when Brent got home from deployment, we'd already been in the trailer for 6 months. He took us to Costa Rica.
Pura vida. Yeah.
There's so much beautiful wood there.
Yeah. Now you know how it started.
Well, now I'm trying to sort this out. We received a lot of different letters from a lot of different people, but yours is the only family we received more than one letter. So who else wrote a letter? So who else wrote a letter?
I did.
Oh.
Yes. Did everyone know that there was another letter?
I just knew that I had done mine.
I had no idea.
She
Rachel
sent
did.
me hers and then asked me to read it for her before she sent it. And then, did I even tell you?
No.
I wanted to surprise her, so I don't even think I told her when I proofread hers.
Yeah.
So tell us about your letter.
In my letter, you had mentioned in the description of what you were looking for, that crossroads, how it can either break you or make you. You can either become stronger from it, or you can just let it devastate you. Well, we have a motto in our family: the Lemlers don't quit.
And hard is good.
Yeah, and hard is good. The foundation that we stand on is so firm. And I wanted just to express just that crossroads. This is a major life ordeal for anybody. And my heart is breaking for the people that are going through it right now.
Yeah.
And it's just so scary right now.
So scary.
But I also know that you can choose how you handle it. And we chose to not let this define us, but to refine us, to make us better people, to be more caring, to care more about each other than our stuff, to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. I mean, that's what I was trying to convey in my letter, was that, yeah, this was really hard and I'm really sad, but we're also so blessed. And that's what I wanted to convey. And like right now, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to come a little bit closer.
Oh, yeah.
This is, so Rachel shifted through the ashes, because one of the things I forgot to grab was my mother-in-law's jewelry.
Wow.
That she had left. And Rachel found this gold and these jewels all melted in the ashes. And I mean, she sifted till she almost passed out and found this stuff. And I was blown away, because I just couldn't even sift. I was just looking at it all going, I don't even know where to start.
There wasn't much left.
Yeah. And she sifted through 2 stories of ash.
And it's 110.
Yeah. And one of those stories was the attic, where everything was stored, that came down on the location of my bathroom where this stuff was. And
so then you had that.
So that's what we came up with was those rubies and the diamonds and the gold is what I found.
Yeah.
And then she was able to take it to a jeweler.
And I had
then
drawn
she
it on
hand
a
drew the
Post-it.
heart and was like, this is
Wow.
kind of what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
And she was able to make it out of the burnt jewelry that I found.
Because you know, your heart is where your home is. We have the fire of the Holy Spirit within us, and we've been refined, and that's what I wanted this to represent. And Janine's Jewelers here in Reading did just such a fabulous job on this, you know, and it's just such a blessing to me. And I wouldn't have had it if Rachel hadn't just persevered and didn't quit and heart is good and got this stuff for me. I mean, I was just so blessed by that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Since you mentioned the people who are going through this right now, and I mean, what advice do you give to the people who are in the thick of it and can't imagine being 2 years out, laughing, sharing, you know, what your lessons are despite and because of everything you've been through?
I would say one of the things when you're evacuating, well, there's a couple of things. And praise God, Rachel, I said, Rachel, take your phone, video everything in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't have a list.
Before you evacuate, everyone needs to just video every
Everything.
room in your house in case it's not there when you get back.
Closets.
If it's a safe, if you have time.
If you have time.
Yes,
and actually, I would do that ahead of time.
Yeah,
I would
do it before you're evacuated.
before you're
Do it-
panicked. and
Yeah,
you're like,
don't wait. Do it
and you're-
now. Yeah.
right, and you're whizzing through the house really fast. But I mean, if you're evacuating, grab your recipes. All those recipes that you've gotten from friends from 20, 30 years ago
Yeah.
that are not on the internet, grab your recipes, grab your Bible. Darn it.
Definitely your photos and
your
family.
And your family and your pets, and then you just and then you just take one day at a time. If you look too far ahead, it's too much. You take one day at a time, and you tell each other how much you love each other. I talked to him more while he was deployed after the fire, you know, because we needed to connect. We needed that connection. Hopefully you've got good insurance, and hopefully you've got a good rep. But even in that, you just take one day at a time. I mean, we've been living in this 19-foot trailer. I have friends that tell me, how in the world can you do that? Well, if you're going to focus on the negative, you're not going to be able to do it. But if you just focus on the fact that, oh, praise God, we've got a trailer with a roof over it, so it's not so stinking hot. And guess what? The air conditioning works. Yay! You know, and you're like, okay, because you know this isn't forever. You know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you just persevere.
Yeah.
Well, we were just so moved that there was more than one letter from one family, and because Jerry is so generous, we want to give another table to your daughter for writing.
That's so awesome. I wish I could hug you right now.
Yeah, to you and your husband, and just Jerry, what would you like to say?
No, I mean, I'm just like the main reason that, you know, we put this together was, you know, we felt like your son. We felt helpless, you know, because we grew up in Reading, and we you know, I knew 24 people that lost their homes, and just to know that there was people from the get-go, you know, Rick, like the fact that you go in on a motorcycle and evacuate people, I mean, that's next level awesome stuff, you know, and it's sometimes unrewarding, you know, and people don't realize the work that you guys do, and the fact that, you know, you've got such a wonderful family, that you guys obviously love each other so much, and you care so much about your neighbors, and that really came through the letters. And the sense of community, I think, is important, you know, and I know I look for that as wherever I go, I look for that community. And so it's just really, really beautiful to see it real time. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Well, when life is more normal and we can come to Reading and break bread with y'all and see your new home, and Jerry's team will work with you, both families, to get your table and what you need and how you want it. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. That is so amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You guys take good care and just keep up the good work.